earliest to the party on McBride and Nico, so that's where we'll be
You
going.
were, man. Cheers. Yeah, cheers to Trey McBride and Nico Collins. I know you're reaping the rewards on those guys.
Absolutely, yeah. And if anyone was doing dynasty football when we started that topic, you're definitely happy now.
Yeah, I've had a few people reaching out trying to pry Nico Collins out of my hands, and he's had a fairly slow start. Like that one touchdown he had Monday night saved his game, but otherwise the Texans' offensive line has been so bad. I think the plays haven't really been able to develop in Houston for Stroud to get those passes off, you know?
True, but I'm seeing a lot of people make trades and selling him too low. So just remember last year, the same thing happened. And I was actually at the third game of the season in Minnesota against Houston, and same thing. Stroud got shut down. He was inefficient due to the pass rush. Replay of last year carrying over to the start of this year. But if you remember, Nico finished awesome. So I mean, he's probably hurting your lineup now, but he's getting a high target volume. I think he had 9-10 targets, and they're just going to keep force feeding him. So eventually things will right the ship. But yeah, I wouldn't panic yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at his rookie autos, just generally, like, still Optic out of 35 for $121.50 in auction yesterday. I mean, that seems pretty good. Base rookie ticket auto auction yesterday that ended for 30. That almost seems like a buy.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Let me pull up my screen.
Yeah, and that's, it's funny because, that's kind of like, the whole premise of how you wanted to go the direction with this channel was like the correlation between like price spikes and player performance. And here you have a prime example of like, the guy has a bad game or two and you can get his card for half price, right?
Yeah, I know. That's the beauty of like sniping auctions. Because look at this, dude. Is this the same one or is that the short print variation?
I think.
No, it's the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah, same one with the dark colored, dark blue jersey. Yeah, base rookie ticket auto. One day prior, or no, was that 2 days prior in an auction for 56? That's way higher. Quick Consign. So the Quick Consign's a well-known consigner like DC Sports 87, like you were talking about. You send in some of your Nikos and Treys and some of your cards into those consigners to take out that legwork for you.
Yeah. And here's the thing is like, I wouldn't discourage anybody from selling it on their own. In fact, I think that's the way to go. But if you're going to go to a consignment at all with your cards, like make sure you have the right card and make sure you use a high visibility seller like Quick Consign, DC Sports, Propstein. Like you're going to get probably like buy it now type pricing or even higher sometimes because there's so many people fighting over the same card. So Filthy.
Yeah, we got Filthy in the house. Craig Signer. I see Craig's been on the channel for a while. Danny Ventura. Danny Ventura is definitely a few IPAs drink. He's got like, dude, that's a lot of comment. Oh, he's a Duval man. He's wanting us to talk about the Jaguars.
Actually,
I'm sure.
I'm happy you mentioned that, man. I wasn't on a few weeks ago or in the off season to talk about it, but as you know, Andy, my team last year was the Vikings, and we know how that worked out. I'm not saying that the Jaguars are the Vikings of this year, but I do think that you see them improve for sure.
Really?
So, they're not quite firing on all cylinders right now. The run game looks good, but you got a couple injuries on the offense, and they're just kind of getting the chemistry.
Yeah, definitely. The chemistry is not there at all, right? I mean, that's it's going to be interesting to watch. I do see like a lot of drops have plagued them. A lot of like just in 1 second you see Trevor Lawrence making a really nice pass to De'Ami Brown in the end zone, and then it's like then there's a Brian Thomas drop, or it's just like they run a couple plays where he misses easy throws and something else happens. And I mean, they should have never lost that game to the Bengals, but they're really struggling to get it together.
Yeah, the Brian Thomas thing. I guess he's got a wrist injury, which would make sense if he's dropping a lot of balls. But I think that De'Ami Brown for a lot of people was a surprise, but he was a great late pickup. I don't know how many best ball drafts you did, or anyone in the chat, I don't know how many best ball drafts you guys did on Underdog or on DraftKings, but a great late value because he's the third receiver on the offense, and in some cases he'll be the second receiver on the offense because Travis Hunter is going to be probably taking some spells if he's splitting time between offense and defense. We would love to see him in on 100% of the downs, but we know that that's probably at the pro level not realistic.
Probably not realistic, but I mean that's what we're chasing. That's what we're chasing, and I love that the fact that they traded Tank Bigsby. I mean, that was a great sign for him. Interesting market because he's got that 2021 market as well, where I mean, for me, I'm torn between chasing or buying raw cards and PSA 10s because there was such terrible quality control in 2021, and I feel like a lot of the set designs to me are not as good as like this year. Like this year's rookie ticket autos, Steve, I think are fire, man. The Roma Dunzes and all the second year guys rookie ticket autos this year, I really like a lot.
It's funny you mentioned the 2021 quality control because for people that weren't back in the game yet, or you weren't avidly collecting like when that set came out, let's just say Prism. Let's start with Prism because we know that that's like probably one of the worst ones as far as quality control goes. The number of PSA 10s early on and even now I think are really low for a lot of the key players. So I mean, even a base PSA 10 for like Trevor Lawrence or I mean, I don't know, Fields if you're into that, but yeah, I mean those are pretty scarce, honestly, and they're a good buy because there's just not a lot, even for a base.
Yeah, even for a base, especially on those quarterbacks, right?
Ooh, that's nice.
Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Silver Prism PSA 10. I mean, look, like the last sale was the 13th, almost a week ago. 45 in auction, 60 buy it now. So that just goes to show you, like they haven't. So I wonder what the next best available one is to find, like $100.
The field level silver at the top.
Field level silver, new listing, PSA 10, $28.
That sounds really cheap, man.
That sounds really cheap. That's where I use Slab
for those of you that don't know, that those are pretty low print, man.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. The only thing I will say about those, I do see that they have lost popularity in recent years since Select went retail and the print runs were jacked up.
Yeah, I correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a minute since we talked 2021 Select, but I don't think you can get field levels from retail. I could be wrong, but I don't think you can.
I think you're right. I actually think you're right on that. I don't think they started releasing that into retail until later, like 2022. So I'm sure someone in the chat would be able to confirm that for us. But I think you're right. I mean, look at so August 24th, a $10 buy it now. It's just so cheap, but at the same time,
that's like before the season started.
Yeah, but at the same time, like what is a Nico Collins? Let's pull in Nico Collins real quick and see what his. I mean, if he was printed in a field level silver, okay, he does have a field level.
Oh,
he's got a white prism. There it is. So yeah, look at his $90 buy it now on his PSA 10 before the season. I know there was a few rounds difference between where because Nico was being taken in the second round of fantasy drafts, and Travis Etienne, I think, was sliding to what, like the 5th round or something?
Nico was a first rounder this year. Nico was a first rounder this year. Etienne was going very late in like the 100 range, like between like the late 80s and like the the low 100s for ADP. So,
Wow.
here's the thing: is like you had three guys that a lot of people couldn't find a consensus on who the starting running back would be. I mean, you could go back to last year and the year before. You knew that I liked ETN, I liked Javonte, and yeah, they both kind of had down years last year. But injuries will do that. Injuries will do that, and you don't always bounce back right away. Not when you're a guy that's getting tackled, 200-300 times a season. Sometimes you got to heal from these things, especially a knee injury like Javonte had. So for anyone that stuck it out like myself, you're definitely reaping the rewards now.
Yeah, Javonte is definitely one of those guys that, before the season, I wrote him up earlier this offseason, and because I like the situation with the Cowboys, just from the status of their fan base, how big it is and everything, playing for the Cowboys, man. And here we have now a bell cow role emerging for Javonte Williams on the Cowboys, who's putting up a lot of points. So the role's great. They actually are 1-1. I think they're going to be a decent team. The defense isn't good, though, so I feel like they're going to get into a lot of shootouts. Like they're playing your Chicago Bears this week, and it's the highest point total on the entire slate for this weekend. And I know a lot of people are like attacking that game, but I think it's up in the air on who wins that game. I do see it as a good game for Javonte Williams on the ground. So I think he would be a good guy to compare with Travis Etienne to see where their prices are, to see if there's any value there.
For sure. And I think that at this point, maybe Javonte has an edge just because of the team he plays on. But, I think if you look at it from a fantasy perspective, like I'll just pull up the rankings from like one of the leagues I'm in. So obviously scoring settings vary from league to league. But, Javonte Williams is number 4 in scoring. Now, granted, James Cook, HN have both played an extra game. And right now, Javonte only has 6 less points than HN. So, I mean, realistically, after this week, Javonte could be the number 2 running back in a perfect world.
He could be, man. The role's really there. So he's only got 8 of those field level silver PSA 10s. There's only been 1 sale in the past 6 months, 3 sales in the past 2 years.
Pop 8.
Pop 8.
That is unheard of.
Yeah, just a really low sample size here. There's only 8 9s and 3 8s. So it's like there's only 19 cards total that have been of these that have been submitted. And there was a buy now in the summer, PSA 10 for 25. So I mean, yeah, 28 or best offer. I mean, if you're getting this for like 25 or 28 out the door, it's really hard to go wrong, like lose money. I mean, this Silver Prism PSA 10 for Travis Etienne is too expensive if you ask me, because those typically sell 50 to 60. So it's like buying it at 100, you're kind of left holding the bag there. And I mean, that would be like,
they're trying to sell it at the ceiling, which is respect. I respect the hustle, but you'll probably get an offer for like 55 on it.
Well, Steve, it has been glad to have you back, man. Glad to have you back on the air. We used to do Card Wire and Card Dog, and man, we used to hunt down the sleepers every week. This year, I'm doing a series every week here at the end of the week called Hidden Gems, where we basically uncover what we feel are the best value plays to make in the hobby that don't break the bank, that allow you to sell at some point this season. Doesn't necessarily have to be this weekend, because if you're buying on eBay tonight, you ain't getting it this weekend. But you could buy on ComC.com, so we'll definitely have that in our scope. And we'll be talking strategy and uncovering any plays that we feel have a high upside to flip for profit at some point this season down the stretch.
I dig it.
So in terms of like your resource, do you have like a favorite resource that you use to find sleepers, or to help you make like start sit decisions when you're going through your weekly process in fantasy?
That's a really good question. Yes and no. Like I don't have like a set site or anything like that. I mean, when you're in as many leagues as I'm in, you've got like 5 different websites telling you what their projections are. And I'll be honest, I never really go off those. And I don't really go off of like a YouTuber or any influencers for that matter, but maybe like a composite, right?
Okay.
I go with A, my gut first, and then B is like a composite of, what most of these sites are saying the projection will be, plus maybe what a couple of the trusted YouTubers that do fantasy football say at the same time. But at the end of the day, I always go with my gut because a lot of these YouTubers do, what they want to be the popular take.
Hmm.
Andy, you know me for a few years now. That's not the way I go. I tend to make a lot of picks that aren't the popular take, but tend to pan out. We saw that with Sam Darnold last year. We saw that with Goff, the years leading up before. So those are the ones that win you leagues, man. Those are the ones that win you investments as well. So just keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've called so many things right in the past. And last year, I know you were very successful in fantasy, right? As well. I mean, what was your turnout last year in your fantasy league?
8 paid home leagues. I won 6 and went to 7 championships. So.
It's crazy, guys. I mean, this is not just the eBay Hitman. It's the fantasy Hitman.
That's
First and
actually how
foremost.
we linked up. Actually, that's how we linked up.
Yeah, I mean, he took that knowledge and and started applying it with the hobby. So this week, Steve, are any of these like so right now, the current state of the NFL and the football card market, we've got a lot of backups playing this week for big teams. You got Marcus Mariota playing for the Commanders against the Raiders at home, which seems like a juicy matchup because the Raiders defense has not looked good. I mean, they're traveling across the country on a short week, and they have been giving fantasy-friendly scores to their opposing offenses thus far this year. And Marcus Mariota played well in Week 18 last year while Jaden Daniels rested for the playoffs. I know it was like end of the season, but he did throw for 2 scores and ran for another. He posted a top 12 finish that week.
Yeah, I think that I'm predicting a kind of ugly game here.
Yeah.
I think that neither of these teams are particularly impressive, but the Raiders are going to be healthy and with all their starters, so I think that the Raiders get this one.
Okay. Fair, yeah, Geno definitely needs a bounce back after that ugly. How many interceptions he threw? Like 3 or 4
Three.
interceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, they swallowed him up last week. But all right, what about Mac Jones playing for the 49ers? They're playing. I don't know if Purdy's going to start this week. He was limited in practice. Excuse me, but
yeah, he I believe is not playing this week. So Mac Jones will be starting. And towards the end of last year, when he played for Jacksonville for a few games, I actually said that I thought that he could be a good buy as far as potentially being a fringe starter or a starter, whether that's this year or next year. And I think that he's definitely good enough. He's definitely good enough. And I think you kind of saw, in a better offense, how he played. I actually had Mac Jones plus 1.5 TDs this week, which hit in the first half. So yay on that. I mean, there's definitely a huge ceiling. I mean, you got to remember this guy was a first round pick. But don't go too crazy. If you can get some deals, find a good entry point, I would say, it's worth picking up a few cards. But you got to remember, like, now that he did have a big start and is starting again this week, like, the gouging will be in full effect.
Yeah, he was pretty solid. I mean, the Saints defense is not that great. Their secondary, especially. The Juwan Jennings ate him up pretty good last week with Mac Jones, and so did Christian McCaffrey. And I'm interested to look at, because once again, he's a 2021 guy, and I noticed that he's got the Silver Prism photo variation here. So it's like, I think people got to be careful about this, because from what I've seen in the data, Steve, the photo variation of the Silver Prism, which is actually these here on top that are sitting here for like 40, 50, which may seem like good deals, these sell for a lot less. Like, people don't.
Okay.
It's almost like they view it as a knockoff of the original, So the original photo is him, looks like he's going for a handoff. The photo variation is him going for a throw, and you can see that the original, man, just goes a lot better. I mean, look at this yesterday, or no, this was Monday. A buy it now of 80 and 105 on Sunday, 85 on Sunday. There was an auction that apparently ended at $31 on Monday. And hey, that's why I don't sell an auction, Steve. You know me.
No. Yeah, I mean, think about it. What was that card a year ago? Probably 20.
Yeah, let's go back and look.
$25 maybe.
I mean, it was look, I mean, there was a low January. I mean, January 17th, an $8 auction.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, that was. I mean, it's a great buy. I mean, I feel bad for whoever put that auction up, but I mean, somebody got a great value there, and hopefully they relisted it this week.
Yeah, it's at one point Kyle Shanahan was rumored to want to draft Mac Jones ahead of Trey Lance, instead of Trey Lance. You remember that?
Yes.
In the 2021 draft, him and John Lynch were both being rumored and speculated to draft Mac Jones, and then we were all shocked when they took Trey Lance instead of Mac Jones. So the fact that Mac Jones is on that roster, and it's a good fit. I mean, I think if you're buying like with the expectation to make money this weekend, temper your expectations, especially if you're buying at this $75 to $100 price point on the Silver Prism 10.
Yeah, and maybe check a few. Hopefully all the low hanging fruit hasn't been picked up yet, but check some buy it nows. There might be some cards that were listed like a year ago that are still chilling there. Check ComC for any people that haven't adjusted their prices yet. Other smaller sites like Mercari that, again, listings might be old and you could pick up, maybe something at like a fifth of what it's going for now because it was listed a year ago. So, or
you can pivot and buy a Carson Wentz Silver Prism PSA 10 for $38, $5 shipping. That's less than 50 out the door. He's starting for Minnesota this weekend. After JJ McCarthy has been sputtering through 2 games. I mean, he got lucky to win that first game. I mean, he didn't come alive to the very end. I thought you guys had that game in the bag the whole time. And then it was like all of a sudden he just kind of pulled it together just enough. And your defense got like tired and kind of started getting run down. And they got the best of him there at the end. But I mean, you guys had that game in the bag the whole time. And so he gets the 1 win and redeems himself. But then last week, not good at all. Gets taken out with a high ankle, what they call a high ankle sprain, but it was almost like he got, like, I don't know, like he wanted to take himself out of the game. I'm not sure what's going on. I know he just had a kid. He was like in the hospital, probably up for 24, 48 hours. You've had kids. I've had kids. I know how that is, being at the hospital with your wife, or, you're up for like 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours straight. And then to go play an NFL football game that weekend.
It did seem like, we talk about this a lot. And one of my biggest criticisms on Caleb was, quarterback is like the most psychologically dependent position on the field. And, if you're not there, if you're thinking about something off the field, you are not in the game. You know what I mean? And it showed. And is that a reflection of how good he really is, or is that a reflection of, just him being distracted? What up, Kev?
Hey, Kevin Cabrera in the house. Shout out to Pick Six. Pick Six is first to comment on most of our videos, man. Love Pick Six. Caesar, the QB room. Yeah, buddy. Juan Pena. Whoa, Juan Pena. That's a huge... He copy and pasted his whole roster in the chat here. Who for my WR1, 2, and 3 and flex? All right, we're gonna try and decipher your comment here. It's how much we love you guys. Wide receiver.
3 receivers and a flex, huh?
1, 2, and so he's got Quentin Johnson, Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin's an up and coming receiver. He's shown chemistry with Bo Nix last week.
I feel like Deebo and Devontae are the 2 automatics.
Yeah.
Hollywood, he's got the upside, but he hasn't shown consistent production yet. I would probably lean towards Quentin Johnston, just because, despite the occasional drop, he's clearly a favorite, especially near the red zone.
Yeah, and they have the Chargers are playing. Who are they playing this weekend?
That's a good question. Let's see. Chargers are playing the Broncos.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So I actually like this matchup because, I like this match. Maybe not so much for Quentin Johnson. It'll be whoever Patrick Surtain's on. Like, you don't want to target the guy. So I had to look at real quick the matchup against Patrick Surtain. You don't want to target that guy. But if he's not, I imagine he gets moved around, right? I mean, you've got Keenan Allen, who's been scoring a lot of points.
Surtain would probably be on Ladd, I would think, but
maybe. I noticed that they've been rotating those guys. I heard, from inside to outside, they've been rotating Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen. And Quentin Johnson primarily plays on the outside. I'm going to have to look at the matchup. I believe Patrick Surtain will be on Quentin Johnston, I think, a lot. I like Deebo Samuel's role with the Commanders, especially with Carson Wentz, but I do feel like Steve with Marcus Mariota back in there. Maybe I don't know how much. Eventually, Terry McLaurin is going to retake his wide receiver one targets, but it's probably going to take Jaden Daniels making that happen. I'm not sure it's going to happen with Mariota, but I like the role there, the amount he's on the field. Devontae Adams has high touchdown upside, so.
Yeah, Franklin's been solid. I think if I'm going to roll him out into a starter spot, like, I'm going to need to see another week or two of that level of involvement. As far as the running backs go, I think Charbonnet is actually doubtful if he hasn't been ruled out. So I would say for your flex, I mean, you got to roll Jacobs or Taylor out there.
Well, it looks like he's got Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor as his starters, as tight ends, Juwan Johnson. So yeah, he's good there. So he's like concerned. I mean, I would just put those three guys in your flex. I'd go Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, and then you're just debating on whether you got Troy Franklin or Quentin Johnson. And I like the Troy Franklin side this week. My take, because I think this could turn into a shootout against the Chargers. I think it absolutely could turn into a shootout, but I like this game better for, I think, Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen.
I think my flex would be Chubb.
Chubb. I mean, Chubb's got a good role. The Texans are playing the Jaguars. So, I mean, they just haven't been able to run the ball, man. Their offensive line's been so bad.
I feel like, he hasn't been crazy, but I mean, with the opportunity, he's definitely been pretty good, given the situation. I think he's already exceeded what most people anticipated happening.
Okay. So, in terms of Carson Wentz, are you buying the Carson Wentz like blow up game here versus Cincinnati? I mean, Cincinnati's been really bad, man. Their defense has been really bad.
Man, I don't know. I think it would make for a great story. I don't see it.
I mean, Jake Browning could do enough. He's good at like those short passes. So, I mean, he could do enough to keep the game competitive into the second half. And Carson Wentz is maybe taking over at the right time. Because the Bengals defense right now may be the worst in the NFL.
If Wentz can game manage, I think the Vikings can win. But the problem is that if Browning is allowed to have time, which actually the pass rush is pretty good for the Vikings. If Browning has time, he may pick them apart. But I don't know about Wentz, man. He's a bit statuesque at this point of his career.
He's a little long in the tooth.
And if you're talking about, from a card perspective, Andy, Mac Jones for sure.
Mac Jones over all these guys. Okay. Yeah, Carson. So yeah, Silver Prism PSA 10 September or like September 15th, the beginning of this week, $30. Before the season, 25, 28. So yeah, I mean, if you're getting a BGS 9.5 for 25, I mean, it's not much downside there. Like it's really not getting too much lower than that for a 2016, Silver Prism PSA 10,
Yeah.
because you have a lot of like Carson Wentz truthers out there from his Eagles days, like Filthy, that have probably got a box full of Carson Wentz's stashed. He's got a box of Nick Foles cards. He's got a box of Carson Wentz.
I think the only way that Wentz is a good buy, I would put Wentz in the hold sell category right now because he may only get a 2-game window to show off here before the starter comes back. But here's the thing: is I mean we're talking like minuscule chance that he balls out and they just decide, hey, you know what? Let's roll with the hot hand. Probably not going to happen. I mean, they let Sam Darnold go to start a rookie quarterback, so they're probably not going to, do that at this point. But they also may not rush him back from an ankle injury if Wentz plays well. So, I think that your window to sell is probably now rather than buy.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to that guy's question, I think I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Nick Chubb here. I didn't realize how much opportunity he's getting, man. I mean, he ran 12 times last week for 43 yards and they got the touchdown. And maybe the Bucs gave him that touchdown because they were trying to get the ball back quickly to score because they're running out of time there at the end. But he got 60 yards in his debut. And I feel like if the Jags do sputter here, the Texans defense is pretty aggressive up front. They could put that pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and they could be in a positive game script to where it's a divisional game to where they're wanting to give the ball to Chubb even more to, try and neutralize the pass rush, try and open up those passing lanes, and also maintain their lead. So I like the Nick Chubb play this weekend.
Yeah, it's funny how a lot of beat writers in camp were like, "Oh, his legs are gone, man. He's got nothing left, man." And I was like, I'm just not buying it, Andy. I'm just not buying it. I think in Underdog, he was probably my first or second most drafted running back, and that might seem crazy, but not crazy when I was taking him in like the 14th through 16th round until a few weeks before the season.
14th through 16th round. That's crazy.
In fact, probably a year or two ago, it would have been out of my budget, but I was able to get a optic rookie ticket auto of Chubb recently.
An optic rookie ticket auto? Nice.
Probably 2 years ago, it might have been like $150, $200 card. I don't know what they go for now, but I definitely got one cheap on auction. Not cheap, but way less than it would have gone for.
Yeah. There's his optic contenders orange at a trend of almost $500 PSA 10. I'm interested to look at the PSA 9. This is closer to raw, and some of these cards are really hard to find graded. So if you can just find the card, that's when it's like, well, if I could just find the card, then hey, it's at least worth PSA 9 value, because I'd rather chase the card than the grade on some of this modern stuff, especially like in Nick Chubb's market when this is such crazy scarcity on 2018 stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not like the modern print where you've got a million or however many base cards like these. The silvers especially, that there's just not many of them.
Yeah, there's a PSA 10 population of 11. The last sale $224 in October of last year.
11.
11, dude. 11 PSA 10s, 34 9s, and 9 8s. So, yeah, I mean, look, that PSA 8 even on June 8th, sold for 33, a little bit more than the June 21st PSA 9 sale. Just
And
because, I mean, the card's so rare.
and here's the thing: is he doesn't have like the hype around him that like the rookie running backs do, right? But at the same time, like, what are you going to pay for a card of that equivalence of a rookie right now? You're going to pay, I mean, for 2025 running backs, you're probably going to pay like $80 to $100 plus, right? But you got a guy who
Yeah.
has like potentially, maybe the injuries will be held against them, maybe they won't, but like a Hall of Fame-esque resume prior to his injury. So who knows? But I mean, if he has any semblance of a season this year, I mean, something you can get for 20, $30 is probably double that by the season end.
Yeah. So I'd be watching these auctions like a hawk, like this purple out of 49 PSA 9 that's ending tomorrow night. Right now it's sitting at just 1150. So like if you're picking that card up, like if you're putting in a max bid and you're serious, right? It's 1150. We know it's going to shoot up, Steve. What do you think you have to put in a max bid on this to be serious to win it, but yet feel like I've still got upside in the card if I win at that price?
I don't think there's a ton of people necessarily on the Chubb train just yet. The season's still young, and he's had 2 good games, but not 2 great games. So I'd say that you can, because it is on DC Sports, you're probably gonna have to bid a little higher. So minimum 25 probably to win it.
25. I was thinking, okay, yeah, there's the purple power. So
20,
purple power out of
pretty close.
49. Was okay, so it is a PSA 9 on Slabhawk, August 16th before the season, $28. So yeah, you were right on point there. I wouldn't want to really get it for more than 30. Although I know this card was worth a lot more at one point. Like, it looks like maybe there was a sale on a CSG 9.5 at some point, or CGC.
Yeah, what would like the raw 2-year be?
Well, we are working on pulling in raw cards into this. That will be happening soon. Yeah, slabhawk.com, guys. Raw cards will be pulled into that app soon, and I'll be very excited to announce that when it happens. But
I mean, look at it this way
yeah.
too. I mean, you and I know that those prism silvers, or even the variations of the prisms, are sought after, and they're pretty rare. But it's funny. Speaking of rare, the card you have right in the center of your screen, I actually own one of those, and I was grateful to get it at the price I got it for. So that's not a base card, believe it or not.
The base Donruss rated rookie?
It has the appearance of a base card, but it is not a base card. It is a rare parallel. If you look at the back of the card.
Aqueous Test.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I wonder what the pop is on that. Well,
I wonder if it would even show up.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of times on eBay it tells you right there on
one of those 10 is on my desk right here.
Only 4 of them, so you've got 1 of 4, man. Nice.
I found one that was listed just as a PSA 10, and they had pictures of both the front and the back, but it was the seller may not have known what exactly it was, so it may have affected the price I got it for.
Now, is that serial numbered at all?
No, I don't know what the actual print run on those is, but I mean, if there's only 4 10s, it's pretty low.
There was a $40 sale on that April 20th earlier this year. But yeah, here it is, $40, 52-week average. So, I mean, that one's sitting at 19 right now, 0 bids. And they put, rare in there. That's the way to attack a market like Chubb's, is through the auctions, because you can get some really rare cards for very undervalued. True. I mean, most people that have the buy it nows, they kind of know what they have, and they're willing to continue to hold that card until they get the price they want. But in the auctions, they're forcing that sale, and you could come away with a very nice buy low.
Here's a alternative strat too. I don't know if you're watching this, I don't know if you go to any live shows. I don't know if you go to any trading card shows, anything like that. But for some people that have not gone to their first show, I would tell you that QBs obviously do run the card market. There's no doubt that they do. And then probably like the next tier down would be like top tier receivers, like your Jamar Chases and stuff like that. But obviously there is a market for a Chubb. There's a market for other running backs and stuff like that. Those smaller. But my advice is that if you go to these shows and you also sell on eBay, there's definitely like an arbitrage play where you can buy low because the people at the shows are looking for quarterbacks, and they're more willing to deal on a price reduction for a non-quarterback. Then you can bring it over to eBay and sell it, closer to comps. So.
Yeah, get capture on those impulse buyers that watch the games and then make a quick decision. Or just as the player trends up. I mean, we see it happen every year. I think there's a lot of examples. I mean, look at Trey McBride now in the tight end landscape, which is so hard to find good tight ends. I mean, you're probably like a lot of people, not you, but a lot of people in fantasy are like rolling out guys like Chiga Conquo or like Johnny Smith, Pat Fryermuth as like, Kate Otten, just Hunter Henry's kind of hope and pray that they get a touchdown.
It's a dice roll every week.
Yeah, but it's very hard to find a guy like Trey McBride that gets, arguably most of the targets for his team. He's like the second to the top target earner for his team on any given week, Yeah,
and if you remember, I never put the guy on blast, but there was a gentleman in the chat that was clowning me for having a Spectra RPA of McBride, calling it a $2 card. But I can tell you that they're $80 to $100 cards now. So it's if you've been buying as long as I have, or even close to as long as I have, you're definitely in a good spot. He's kind of like, he's not off to the biggest start of the season yet, but he's too good to be held back. And like you said, the volume is there, so it's just a matter of time. But, we saw the changing of the guard. We kind of saw it coming 2 years ago. And Kelsey, quickly regressing. And you've got, the Trey McBrides of the world and the Tucker Crafts of the world, and maybe even, Tyler Warren, Brock Bowers, making their way to the top. Harold Fannin, a guy that's, a rookie that's, really showing up so far. So, the tight end room, we've talked about it a bunch of times. It's not necessarily a popular position per se, but the tight end position is becoming a popular position because it is a offensive skill position, whereas it used to be not.
Especially those tight ends like McBride that function mostly as a receiver. I think that's like a lot of, and I know like even like Gronk was a good blocker, like he's known a lot for his blocking. Kelsey has thrown a lot of good blocks back in his prime. And like that's an important trait, but without the target volume, there's really the blocking is not going to generate the type of hype that's going to make your cards go up in value.
No, because if it did, linemen would be valuable.
Yeah, that's really hard. I mean, you got to be an all-pro. You got to be Jason Kelsey. I mean, I've seen some decent prices on Tristan Wirfs in the past, but I mean, he's been injured. And
Joe Thomas is like the only old lineman that comes to the line that his cards are like really valuable. You know what I mean? But Wirfs is up there too, but there's just not a lot of guys that like are renowned. Maybe Joe Alt in a couple years will be, but going back to tight ends, I mean, here's a good example. Maybe pull up a couple Kittle rookies. I'm not saying go buy Kittles, but he is injured right now, so there may be like a small dip in his prices. But his stuff is super expensive. And McBride, there is a small dip because he's off to a slow start. But I mean, I'm always looking for McBrides. I've got a lot of McBrides, and this might be the year that I just move off a couple of them and hold the bigger ones.
Yeah. So what do you say? Like, what do you say to these people that are willing to pay an arm and a leg or some other really weird stuff for like these rookie like the rookies, like Ashton Genty. I mean, he's off to such a slow start. His college uniform rookie autos were over $200. Same thing for Travis Hunter. Slow start to his NFL career. I don't think that was defensive pass interference that he was called for against the Bengals. I mean, I watched that again. I also saw the guy from Barstool Sports actually absolutely lose his mind about that call. It was a bad call. It was a bad call. It was not defensive pass interference. I think he played it really well, but slow start for a lot of rookies. Like literally, Steve, I think the only rookies that come to mind that have broken out is Benamika Ibuka for the Buccaneers and Tyler Warren, tight end for the Indianapolis Colts.
I would put another guy up there. He hasn't broke the ceiling yet, but he's close. He's scratching the ceiling. That's Ted McMillan.
Oh, Ted. Yeah. Ted McMillan has like emerged as the clear alpha wide receiver for the Panthers. And he actually you're right. He had a really strong, like that second half of the game when Bryce Young woke up last week, he really came alive.
Yeah. I mean, he's a touchdown away from becoming a household name. I mean, he had a great, PPR type game. But yeah, everyone's waiting for that first touchdown.
So like, okay, Origins out of 99, plain color patch for Genty, almost $200. Almost $200, dude. That is absolutely insane for I mean, he's been sputtering. He's been sputtering through 2 weeks.
My whole thing with that is let's look at a historic sample size here. Can you think of a running back in the last 5 years whose Origins auto is $193? I think if you get in at this juncture, you're just paying a premium, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, same thing with Ted McMillan. I mean, base Origins, non-serial numbered rookie auto for 100.
Touchdown there said Scatabo. And here's the thing. I like Scatabo. Scatabo's probably becoming the workhorse in New York. But here's a great example too, Andy. Pull up a Scatabo auto. And here's the thing is, do I think his card should be worth $100? I don't. But I'm telling you, there are $100 autos. Boom. Right? Literally the first one that comes up.
Pen Pals sold today, man. It was probably touchdown. It was probably touchdown there.
Yeah.
And you just buy this touchdown.
So again, I'm not taking anything away from him. I mean, he could literally have an amazing season, but go back and look at like what's a Jonathan Taylor pen pals worth, right? I bet it's like $40.
Jonathan Taylor, pen pals. And Jonathan Taylor is absolutely balling out. I got to ask you about Daniel Jones.
There you go.
Yeah.
Somebody paid 100, Andy, for the lesser of the two cards. The black ink is the base. So that
interesting.
That we talked about exposure and consignment. Look at the two sales.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm pulling up here. July 13th, DC Sports 87 for 100 on 12 bids versus CH Wall _ 371 July 5th for 3 bids and $26.
I mean, not only is the blue ink lower print, but I mean, blue ink matches the card. Like, why wouldn't you want the blue one, right? If you had the option.
Yeah. You have a one touch and a consign. And this is why Steve is sending a lot of cards as DC Sports 87. I mean, they have so much exposure.
Look at the sales volume, 944,000 compared to 700. Yeah. I'm not taking anything away. If you're a private seller, you can still do great on eBay, but the sheer fact is that there is a level of competition.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good example. A rookie ticket auto, which is, in my opinion, one of the more sought after cards, one of the more recognizable cards for a player, right? $60, okay? $60, or you can find a lesser set, since that's all that's out for 2025, and pay over $60 for Cam Scatabo. Now, do I dislike him? No, I love Cam Scatabo. I think he's gonna have a great year. But do I think that he'll have the same career that Jonathan Taylor will have? I don't necessarily think that. So, when you're buying 2025 guys, I hope you really, really like those guys. because it's your odds of making money on it is very, very low.
Yeah, it's just not the right market to get into. You got to just be patient and like know when to take advantage. Like I mean, so another guy I want to ask you about, who I think it may be more appropriately priced. We'll see. I know he's got very few cards, but it's Jordan Mason. So Aaron Jones goes to IR,
Yeah,
and the Vikings always bust out big performances with running backs, and they have this great matchup this week with Carson Wentz behind center,
yeah,
and they're playing this terrible, terrible defense in the Bengals. This is a nice spot for Jordan Mason, who absolutely balled out for the 49ers last year as a backup, and everybody went wild for his car. I mean, these rookie ticket autos, I know you remember, it got up to like $100.
I think the thing you gotta. I'm not saying if you can get them look at that 18 to 46. I mean, if you can get one for $18, that's a no brainer. The thing that you got to worry about is, what does everyone always talk about when they're like, oh, what makes a league winning running back, right? There's a lot of different things that do. And typically one of them is be a pass catcher, right? Have a certain volume in the passing game, which he does not have. Will they thrust that upon him? Maybe. But if you look at historically his numbers, he just doesn't catch passes. So if he doesn't, where does that put him? Obviously, he's the goal line guy. Obviously, he's the first two down guy. But if he's not catching passes, is he going to have that super high ceiling that makes him an investment?
Yeah, I mean, buying it at 38 is kind of steep too. I know they've been up a lot higher, and this is literally like the only card he's got is a rookie ticket auto from 2022.
I think the other thing you got to worry about too is if they can not get the passing game going soon, he's going to be facing like 8 in the box.
Look how high they've got up to. I mean, if I'm reading this right on ComC, this card got up to $290 back on September 9th last year. That's when he had to start for the 49ers at the beginning of the season, right?
It's a lot. Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot. Yeah,
that's a lot. That's not how much I would pay, but I think if a good safe number is like $25 to $30 right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is his only card, so we do have to put that into consideration.
Yeah, it would be hard to lose in that dollar amount, and pretty easy to make if he has a good year.
Yeah, he popped on my radar because, like, if you look at DraftKings or Daily Fantasy, he's still very cheap, and he's got this huge role this weekend with the Vikings against a very bad defense in the Bengals. So I like his chances of being able to put up a very nice fantasy score. I think the Vikings should win this game, Steve, don't you?
Man, I don't know.
Or are you picking?
I honestly, I'm probably going to end up taking the Bengals, if I'm being honest with you.
Really?
I think that, I think I saw enough against the Jaguars that basically, look with the 3 interceptions, they still won the game. Like if Browning can just limit those, like a lot of it ultimately comes down to the O-line play, because if there's one thing that will lose the Bengals this game, it'll be O-line play, and that's what ultimately is the reason that Joe Burrow is on the IR, and the reason that he has the most QB hits of anybody in the last 5 years. So if he can evade the pass rush, they should easily win this game. But that's the ultimate question. I'm not anticipating a blowout by any means, but I think that the Bengals can squeak.
Okay. Well, I'm going Vikings. They're playing in Minnesota. They are giving Minnesota -3 on the spread. It's I could see this also being like a real slugfest and coming down to the wire and being a low scoring game as well.
Yeah.
One team I do not,
like such a wild card, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. One team I do not see losing at all this weekend, Steve, and this is a huge team this year that's going to give a lot of people problems, and that's the Packers, and they're playing the Browns. led by Joe Flacco. 0-2. Packers defense looks like the best defense in the NFL right now. And Micah Parsons wasn't even on the field for most of the snaps, the first 2 weeks, kind of coming out of his back issues, but they still look absolutely incredible. Jordan Love is playing great. His cards are up big time right now. Tucker Kraft's cards are up. Jaden Reed was their guy, but he went down with an injury. And I got to think that there's another receiver on this team that's got to step up. Matthew Golden had very expensive rookie cards as a rookie coming in the league. So it's like hard to target him. He's in that same category as Cam Scatabo and Ashton Genty and Tet McMillan. So I'm looking elsewhere, Steve, to attack this Packers offense. What about you?
Here's an interesting one. So Packers were in the home leagues where you actually have a defense. Packers were my most drafted defense this year, and they've been awesome.
Nice.
But you wouldn't think this because of the score last week, Andy. But what team in the league has the least yards allowed on the season? I bet you'd never guess.
The least yards allowed on the season? Is it the Falcons?
It's the Browns.
Oh, the Brown. Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know they have a good defensive line. Like they have a really ferocious defensive line, but they've got holes in their secondary. And so like that's how they've been losing games.
So
I mean,
it's going to come down to game management, and if they turn the ball over. Like this could actually be a closer game than most people think, because the number 3 team in yards allowed is the Packers. So you've got like 2 defensive juggernauts going at it. Now, granted, the Packers' offense is superior, but this could maybe be like a running back breakout game, Andy, for the Browns, perhaps.
For who? Judkins?
Yeah, they did say his role should increase this week.
Well, I'm interested in that because he is a rookie. He may be suspended though, right? I mean, like I feel like what if we buy into Judkins and then he gets suspended? And is his suspension or his character issues around this investigation
Sure. That's definitely a valid
take a factor into his card pricing? I mean, $31 on a Pen Pals on a rookie. That's not bad, especially a potential rookie running back that could profile as getting a large workload behind a good offensive line on a team that's known for running back success in the Browns here. Prices for him are like half of what the other big name rookies are.
So from a fantasy perspective, I think it's an intriguing play, because if you had your draft like close to the start of the season, which I hope you did, he went undrafted in a lot of cases, or he went at the very end of drafts because he was not yet reinstated. In a few teams where I went really receiver strong, and the consensus amongst my league mates went running back strong, I was kind of picking scraps by the end of the draft to figure out who my running backs were going to be. And in a couple leagues ended up just with him as a Hail Mary, hoping that he comes back and becomes a bell cow. And if he does, like, that puts me in a really good situation. The card prices aren't too crazy. Here's the thing. Any 2025 rookie, you're going to overpay for right now. So
yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily put him as a good buy at the moment, but I would put him as a potential buy as like a fantasy player. You might still find somebody willing to give him up.
Yeah, you're going to pay too much for him right now for the long term, but if you could flip him, like if you can buy like Dylan Sampson, if you could buy him and then flip him for a profit, right, like within the next 2 to 3 weeks, then it does make sense. So I think Quinton Judkins may be worth a little bit of exposure there, Steve.
I like Sampson too. Obviously, going against the Ravens last week was it kind of hard to gauge because of how bad they were in that game. But he's clearly, I think, the second in line at least. So,
well, on the Packers side, I think I want to attack Dontayvion Wicks. he doesn't have many rookie cards, and they're from 2023. So it's like all of his supply is out there in the market. You could take your pick. National Treasures sold September 9th out of 49 for 90. So that's pretty good, but I mean, that's a pretty significant price, especially when you had September 6th one sell for 45. I mean, it's pretty much the same card. Oh, this one's out of 99. So I mean, that's a nice card to target right there. NT out of 90. I mean, that's not bad. 45 National Treasures out of 99 for 45 September 6th. So if you can find something like that, I feel like Dontayvion Wicks is definitely worth a look-see here. I know that some people were on him about some drops that he had last year, but when what?
He definitely had quite a few of those. I think that on a week-to-week basis, like him and Romeo Dubs are like probably trading off as far as like who's going to be the guy that week. I think the only consistent guy in the receiving game is Tucker Kraft. But I don't. We talked about the tight end values. There's definitely value in tight ends. I don't know what Tucker Kraft's market is because I haven't really looked in a while. But Wicks or Dub, like if you can get them cheap enough, like they're good low hanging fruit. That there's probably not a lot of people buying them right now because everyone's out there buying, buying the rookie.
Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden. So yeah, I mean, and Christian Watson's always hurt. Romeo Dobbs, he's like very mid. I feel like he's just gonna be. He's like the Josh Palmer, for the Packers, and so it's like, his best games, his ceiling is still capped. I feel like Wicks though is gonna play the most similar to Jaden Reed and playing the Jaden Reed role. Maybe it's Golden that breaks out, but Golden's market is so hard to get into because I don't think he's. I mean. Just like we saw with Genty just now, even though he's sputtered out to start the season and it's not been great, like the cards are still super expensive. And yeah, I'm still seeing the same thing for Matthew Golden. I mean, are you kidding me? Like there's the Origins for out of 99 for $105. It's crazy expensive.
Don't do it.
Crazy expensive, man. There you go, $85 for the Pen Pals.
Here's the thing: it's the reoccurring trap. Every year it's the shiny new toy that everyone has to have first. But we all know that the best time to buy the 2025 rookies, Andy, is in 2026.
Yeah. No, look, you can get a blue ink Pen Pals Daniel Jones right now for $91. Ended an auction 3 days ago. That's after he starts the season 2-0. And is a top 5 quarterback. I know in some categories so far to start the year, Daniel Jones is number 1 quarterback in the NFL. Can you believe that, Steve?
He is. Let's see. He is 5. He's 5. So ahead of Mahomes, ahead of Mayfield, just under Herbert and Goff. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that I thought he'd have a good season. I didn't think he'd have this good of a season, but the one thing he had going for him is the offense he's in is a match for his skill set. So, obviously that's worked really well for him, and maybe he'll continue to thrive. He does have, the world's greatest receiver at his disposal, Alec Pierce. I'm sure that helps quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, that team has needed a quarterback to be a contender for a while. They haven't really needed much else, and they finally have what seems to be their guy.
Yeah, it seems that way. And I mean, when you can get them at the same price, man, look at that. So back in the summer, that blue ink Pen Pals was $28. Now it's up to $91. So it's now a tougher market for you to buy into. With Daniel Jones, but I gotta think that they were so low that there is still definitely room for them to go up more. Like they're playing the Titans this weekend. Granted, I think it's in Tennessee, so if I remember correctly, but this is it's in Tennessee, but this is another, I think, good matchup for them. here against the Titans. They've got the ground game going. They can attack them through the air. The Titans defense has been very mid. Like Matt Stafford was able to throw the ball all over them last weekend. And I mean, Cam Ward is a rookie quarterback, looking like a rookie quarterback. So I don't think that he's really going to hit full stride until later in the season. I like him. I think he's going to get better, but I definitely think the Colts win this game. Daniel Jones goes 3-0. His card price is just going to continue to go up. And I feel like there's still room to buy into him because of how cheap like they are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I know I have a couple of those field level silvers that I need to quickly get rid of.
Man, look at that.
But yeah, I mean, here's another example of like the not popular play that makes sense. Like, even last year, even in the offseason, like they signed Daniel Jones. What's everybody doing? They're still buying Anthony Richardson cards. Like after what you've seen in the last 2 seasons, I don't know how you could buy an Anthony Richardson card unless, I mean, you were getting it for like $5 to $10. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm-hmm.
and I wasn't necessarily advocating buying like a plethora of Daniel Jones, but to throw a couple balls under the roulette wheel and see if your color hits, definitely worth it, because you just saw the guy that paid $19 for the pen pals that sold it for 90. So there's definitely plays to be made that aren't the popular plays but can work out.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is currently more valuable than Kyler Murray, at least on the base cards. The base Prism PSA 10, $40 for Daniel Jones, $30 for Kyler Murray. Same thing with the base Donruss, $30 for Jones, $22 for Murray.
You love to see it, man.
It's interesting. I mean, like, for the same price, which one would you rather have, Steve?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm not one of those guys that says ever go out and buy Kyler Murray, but Cardinals are 2-0 as well.
Yeah, I know. That's why
and this is one of those times where it's like, hey, Cardinals could win this week, right? Cardinals could win this week against the Niners. And if they go 3-0, buying his card is the right play, especially if somehow the Colts lose this week and Daniel Jones cools off in the market.
Look at that, man. That's crazy. The person who sniped us rookie ticket auto, Daniel Jones, September 3rd for $47. I mean, what a winner. I mean, buy it now sold September 10th, 280, 350 September 16th. And I was looking, so that gives him an average of 226. But that's what Kyler Murray's was 350 on his rookie ticket auto PSA 10 last sale on Tuesday. So they're pretty much neck and neck, man. You can kind of make your pick. And I get it if you don't buy into Daniel Jones now, because he has gone up. He's basically doubled in value or more on some cards. But at the same time, Steve, I feel like he could continue to rise. So at this point, like I'm kind of curious to look at Kyler Murray's like history in terms of multi-year market to see what kind of potential. Like maybe the rookie ticket auto PSA 10 gets up to $500. That's not out of the question here for Daniel Jones, I don't think.
Yeah. And I mean, that division isn't necessarily like really good. I mean, I think that the Jags are like an ascending team right now. The one thing they're doing is definitely scoring. They need to start allowing less scoring, but we're through 2 games, and I guess we'll see what happens. But if either of these QBs go 3-0, 4-0, I mean 4-0 is like I think 4-0 is like the magic number. Like it's obviously very rare for any team to start 4-0, but if you have a QB card of a QB team starts 4-0, that's like the magic number where like the card may never go for more money than if they make the playoffs or go to the Super Bowl. So like that's like your prime opportunity to move off of it, especially with a guy like Daniel Jones, who, like you showed it in the offseason and even last year was like being bought for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to come down to, can he keep this up and make the play, or and then make the playoffs at the end of the year? I think he can keep it up at least for one more week. And playoffs are, I think we still haven't seen enough yet to kind of come to that conclusion, right? So a little too early for that. We don't want to overreact too much, but sure,
Yeah.
this partnership here looks really legit, and Jonathan Taylor has been blowing up as well as part of that. But Adam A here wants to know if he should trade Jonathan Taylor for Bucky Irving and Jameson Williams. Steve, I think I would say yes to that. I mean, just because Bucky Irving's got the same role as Jonathan Taylor, and he's got a similar upside. He's got a really similar upside, and Jameson Williams got huge home run hitting potential as well. You're getting 2 for 1.
I think that that's a conditional question. So I think that if you are in a shallow league where like you're desperate at the receiver position, you have no one to start, and JMO would be a starter on your team, that may be a good trade. But I mean, as of right now, Taylor is looking vastly superior. I mean, I know we have a 2-game sample size only, but Taylor's got 236 yards to Bucky's 108.
Wow.
So again,
What's
small.
5.5 yards per carry, 1 total touchdown. So he's putting up an average of 21.2 fantasy points per game. And I know Irving had a slow game, game 1, and then last week was a lot better. But yeah, he's putting up 16.3 fantasy points per game. But I do think it gets better for Bucky Irving as we get into the season. We get Tristan Wirfs back. That's going to help him out too. But like this game against the Jets, I mean, the Jets defense has just got holes everywhere, especially, I mean, look at how easy the teams have run the ball against them through the first couple weeks in the Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. So this Jets team has really got like a strong point in Sauce Gardner. Otherwise, though, this is like looking like a positive game script situation. Good game for Bucky Irving to really like have a strong game.
Yeah, I think another major difference too is like if you look at Rashad White's usage, it does seem to be a little bit up from last year, which again, it's 2 games. It's hard to say if there was a reason for it, if Irving is, nicked up or whatever the case is. But with Taylor, you're not like, oh man, I hope they don't sub him out near the goal line. That's not happening. They're not bringing anybody in. Like he's getting the vastest majority of the carries. I don't know where he is in comparison and rushing share. But I do know that like Javonte Williams actually is like the number 1 in the league for like rushing share, like on his own.
Roll.
So nice. I would imagine Taylor's got to be close in the top 3, maybe. Irving's usage early is just a little bit worrisome. So if JMO is a starter, it's a reasonable trade offer. But if he's not, then I would stay with Taylor.
Yeah, it's hard to go away from a number 2 running back in the NFL right now. Like it's a top 3 running back in the NFL right now, man. This team is humming. This team is absolutely humming with the Colts there. So, all right, Steve. Yeah, I mean we're pretty much out of time here, guys. But Steve, is there anything else on the slate that you wanted to talk about this week?
I know you mentioned Cowboys and Bears. I mean, 2 defenses that have a notoriety, but I mean have just been the worst this year. So, yeah, I could see that being pretty high scoring. I mean, you saw how many yards the Cowboys gave up to Russell Wilson, and granted, Russell Wilson's playing good. I can't say the same for the Bears, but I think that'll be a fun one to watch on Sunday night. And let's see if there's any other games that are jumping off the page at me here. Panthers Falcons should be pretty fun. You got some of the best young receivers in the game going at it there. What else? Broncos Chargers. Man, I'm telling you, I think that those are the 2 best teams in that division. Chiefs have just been kind of regressing for a while. They've been leaning on the run and their defense. And so far this year, their defense and run game both look like crap. So not good. And the Broncos defense, which is elite, has not been good either. So Chargers could possibly put a lot of points up here.
And Justin Herbert, I saw the stat today. They've actually been throwing a ton. Justin Herbert has been throwing well over expectations. Their throw rate in neutral game script situations has been 13% higher than the league average. So I was actually really surprised to see that, because a lot of people think of John Harbaugh as a guy who wants to just run. But Herbert has been playing so well. They've been actually throwing the ball a ton.
Yeah.
So I think this game could turn into a shootout, man. I think this game could very easily turn into a shootout here. I'm actually targeting it.
Yeah. It'll be a fun one to watch. And if you got any Herbert or Knicks cards, like, watch that one closely. Unfortunately, if the Broncos fall to 1-2, like, it's going to hurt a little bit. But Chargers go 3-0. I mean, Herbert cards have been going up. They took a huge hit in 2021, 2022, but they are quickly on the rebound.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you joining me tonight, Steve. It's been a lot of fun. Glad to have you back on the airwaves. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Wish you all good luck this week, and hopefully you have success this weekend.
Yeah, man. Everyone, good luck. Appreciate the questions. Appreciate you tuning in, and till next time.
Peace.